Greetings from the City of Arts and Sciences in Valencia. My name is Juan Gomez and I am Insights Expert at ForwardKeys. It is a pleasure to join you today, even if virtually, to share with you our latest research on global travel trends. Talk about new markets, new opportunities and what lies ahead in this new paradigm of travel post-COVID. Although the travel industry and the travel retail industry as well has been at a complete standstill due to the pandemic, we are starting to see some movement. We can see that our travel retail clients become more active over the past few weeks. That is not without a reason. Recovery is on its way, but it's still a very uneven phenomenon and not all destinations are benefiting equally. What our clients ask us most often is about travel recovery and when this will be strong enough to reopen stores and re-engage with the travelers at airports across the world. Lucky for us, at ForwardKeys, we are equipped with the most comprehensive air ticketing data in the market, which allows our clients to discover future bookings both for domestic and international travel through our data solution ForwardKeys Nexus, whilst also better understand traveler profiles and recovery through our latest innovation tool, Traveler Statistics. Even though the traditional markets have not fully recovered yet, there are certainly areas in the world where there are new opportunities. They just may appear in unexpected places. Domestic markets remain a life jacket for many destinations while most international travel remains on the back burner. But in some destinations, international travelers have exceeded 2019 figures. In this presentation, let me start first with a review of the summer 2021. We will have a look at the travel hotspots with a focus on travelers that can enjoy duty-free shopping. After that, I will examine the travel status of China and the health of its domestic market, taking a good look at the tourism to Hainan, as well as the opportunities that lie behind the easing of travel restrictions in the US. I will save the best for last, a global travel forecast. Did the acceleration of vaccination campaigns across the world boost air travel during Q3? Did the EU digital COVID certificate help to reactivate tourism in Europe? And if so, which destinations managed to bounce back during the Northern Hemisphere summer? Is there anything we can learn from what happened in the travel sector from July to September? Minus 68%. This is the disappointing figure of international arrivals in Q3 compared with 2019. This may appear a bit depressing, but we're seeing a slow improvement as the year to date is minus 78%. We're seeing some clear signs of reactivation in the Americas, Europe, Africa and the Middle East. Only in APAC, the travel pulse stays flat. Well, at least for international travel. The top 10 most resilient destinations for international travel still look very much like a Caribbean and Mexican affair, with 8 out of 10 from this part of the world. All destinations in this top 10 reveal a strong appeal of sun and sea experiences. You may think that this is a standard pattern at this time of the year, but let's check how this ranking looked like pre-pandemic. Surprise! Only 2 destinations could clearly be labeled as sun and sea, Palma in Mallorca and Nice, where there's also a strong luxury appeal. Most destinations in our 2019 ranking were vibrant urban metropoles powered by a growing interest in cultural, shopping and luxury tourism. Clearly, cities are having a hard time bouncing back, and international visitors nowadays have a much stronger preference for beaches in the open air than crowded streets, museums and big shopping malls. But to get there, they still need to travel through an airport. Europe's performance this summer was disappointing. It is true that there was a certain level of reactivation of international travel, but it remained modest and it never really got up to speed after the month of June. What makes this particularly bitter for the travel sector is that it seems the season could have been much better had the lessons from summer 2020 been learned. I'm talking about 2 things here. First, an early communication from the destinations regarding the rules of the game this summer so that travelers could plan ahead. And secondly, stability over the summer regarding travel restrictions. We saw very little of both, which made international travel to and within Europe a bit of a gamble, and most people decided to stay close from home, which boosted domestic travel and trips to neighboring destinations. Consequently, destinations such as Greece, which communicated early about its intention to remain open to vaccinated visitors, reached almost pre-pandemic figures with a drop in international travelers of only 17% compared to the months of July and August in 2019. Meanwhile, countries such as Portugal or Spain, on the other hand, reached approximately 50% of international travelers at the same time in 2019. Here, not only a later communication regarding the reopening of destinations to vaccinated travelers played against, but also the great dependence of destinations in markets such as the UK, resulting in the lack of many tourists. The performances of France, Italy and Germany were average or below average, plagued by changing travel restrictions and the inability to bounce back on some of their key intercontinental markets like the US or China. The United Kingdom, on the other hand, as a destination, lost 87% of the usual visitors of a normal summer, failing far behind on the path of recovery, or rather reactivation. If US, Chinese, or even Russian visitors are missing in Europe, it's going to be very difficult for businesses that were highly dependent on these markets to compensate. To end this summer Q3 review on a positive note, we see pent-up demand. Like I mentioned earlier, lifting the travel restrictions immediately results in travel. At the same time, we also see a small increase in people that travel business or that travel more in luxury destinations, like the Maldives, topics that we have frequently mentioned in the blogs on our website. We've also received a good feedback from clients. A travel retail company, wishing to remain unnamed, told me that they are seeing their footfall decline due to COVID, but the footfall that is entering their stores are spending more and having a higher conversion than before. And although some key markets like the UK haven't been able to travel much over the summer, it does represent one of the biggest opportunities in Europe. We saw that Brits want to travel each time a restriction was lifted, and now that they are able to travel more freely, we expect this to be a big opportunity for the travel retail sector. Let's now move to the Chinese market. Pretty much everyone across the travel retail sector is anxiously waiting for the Chinese market to resume international travel. Let's be clear, this is not happening yet, but we've seen some movement linked to Chinese students flying ahead of the start of the academic year. We have witnessed a significant rebound of one-way tickets for these destinations that are popular among Chinese studying abroad, such as the US, the UK and Canada. This is encouraging, but this positive trend is bound to be limited in time due to its very nature. The Chinese domestic air travel market had heated up in June and July this summer, increasing by 3.6%. However, the recovery was disrupted in August, recording a 49% decrease when compared to 2019. This was due to the summer outbreak in COVID cases, which started from a cluster in Nanjing and quickly spread to 48 cities across the country by mid-August. On 23rd of August, no new locally transmitted COVID cases were reported for the first time since July. Very quickly, we started to see the uptick in travel. Sadly, it is still much behind 2019 levels. Focusing on June and July only, the top 10 destinations remain also restricted to sun and sea destinations in the coastal areas and increasingly popular destinations in West China. We can see that nature and unique cultural experiences have become a more attractive drawcard for travelers in the post-pandemic time. I guess there is also the sense of more space, quelling potential concerns of catching COVID from being in a crowded place. Among the popular coastal destinations, Hangzhou and Xiamen have increased their popularity for Chinese travelers. Qingdao also jumped to the 10th position this summer. Guangzhou and Shenzhen lagged due to the resurgence of COVID cases. During June and July, both Haikou and Sanya recorded growth in air arrivals when compared to the same period in 2019. Sanya performed better than Haikou, up by 30% in June and 42% in July, while Haikou grew 8% in June and 31% in July. To both destinations, the outlook was badly affected by the latest outbreak, but travel recovered quickly in September, although still behind 2019 levels. Bookings for domestic travel to Haikou in October are currently down by 32%, to Sanya is down by 36% when compared to 2019. The picture is quite bleak still, as you can see, but we know from experience that the Chinese domestic market booking times have reduced to mere days before travel, so the outlook could change quickly. When analyzing passenger profiles per booking, we uncovered a real gem. Group travel is making a return. Indeed, the group size of more than 6 passengers per booking had the best performance, growing 7% when compared to 2019. Other profile types also grew. Solo travelers grew by 5% and couple travel increased by 4% this summer. The only one not experiencing a huge momentum is typically family-sized groups of 3 to 5 people. The expectations on the Chinese market is that there is a pent-up demand now, and as soon as it is safe and they are allowed to travel internationally, we will see Chinese numbers getting close to pre-pandemic levels very quickly. During the pandemic, travelers have rediscovered exciting local destinations, and we expect that even after international travel has resumed, people will still be interested in traveling domestically. Hainan will continue to grow to be important to travel retail business, even after international travel is allowed again. Like I said earlier on, we have received questions about forecast ever since the pandemic started. At ForwardKeys, we get many questions for forecast of the total number of travelers, given that businesses often must make decisions on selecting the right airports and terminals to launch a new product or to find the best touch points to target specific nationalities. In general, forecasts have traditionally been built using historical data and the trends that have been observed in the past. As a consequence of COVID volatility, using historical trends is nowadays almost impossible, as the pandemic has wiped out any trends we saw before, and with travel restrictions being implemented and lifted faster than the speed of light, we will not be seeing any improvement of this anytime soon. That is why ForwardKeys has built a state-of-the-art forecasting model built on the flights scheduled by airlines and the tickets already booked to estimate how many people will eventually travel. Using data science, we continually improve this model to factor in things like airlines frequently cancelling flights. Under the current circumstances, we expect the global market to reach pre-pandemic travel levels in 2024. However, we know from experience that this recovery is going to be very unequal and will very much depend on the situation by country and world region in terms of travel restrictions. There are some nationalities that will reach pre-pandemic travel levels before. One of these examples is the Americas, where especially in the North American market, growth is happening, and they might be back at pre-pandemic travel levels as soon as 2022. The other big topic that everyone is talking about is the impact of the recently announced US travel new rules. How will this impact travel in the short and medium term? A surge in bookings? We remain cautiously optimistic until the rules become clearer. But looking at the positive results of travel between the US and the Caribbean and Mexican hotspots, which have welcomed more US visitors than in 2019, we don't see a reason why this trend could not be extended to other parts of the world like Europe. What do we expect for Q4 and Christmas travel? Will people travel and buy Christmas gifts in duty-free? Planned international global air capacity is scheduled as we speak to be around 40% down on Q4 2019. Of course, some destinations have a brighter outlook than others. Namely, destinations such as the Maldives, Mexico, Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico all expect a growth on offered international seats. Destinations such as the USA, Qatar, United Kingdom or Brazil have a more cautious outlook in regards to international seats offered by airlines. Airlines, of course, keep adjusting this constantly, mirroring the changes in travel restrictions, so it is likely that the picture changes towards we get closer to the holiday period. As for the top most resilient destinations ahead of Q4, with tickets confirmed up to 30th of September, we can see a continuation of the results in Q3, which also mirrors the planned capacity. We also can see some additions, particularly from Central America. We expect Christmas travel to be much stronger this year than in 2020. We see significant increases for the important source nationalities, and for which stability in travel restrictions will be key. As for today's key takeaways, I've touched upon the hotspots for travel in summer, Chinese domestic and international travel, US outbound and a global forecast. What can you take away? For a start, our data confirms that markets such as the Brits will become an important travel audience for travel retailers now that restrictions have eased and they can travel freely to places like the EU. Businesses should keep a close eye on the travel restrictions and government's announcements, as these will be the most important indicator for travel. Domestic Chinese travel has performed well, although it has had a temporary hiccups because of COVID outbreaks and travel restrictions. We do expect the Chinese to travel abroad again once they can, as we have seen some early signs from Chinese students traveling to universities abroad and an increase in group travel. And we believe Hainan will stay important for the travel retail landscape. At the moment, the best you can do is stay informed. The travel recovery is on its way, though it will be unequal throughout the world. Businesses equipped with daily data will always be at the forefront of recovery game. You can always send me an email if you have any questions regarding this presentation today. Contact me at webinars@forwardkeys.com. Thank you very much.